Notice of public meeting of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville. Pursuant to Chapter 551, Title 5 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Open Meetings Act, notice is hereby given that the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, in accordance with Article 5, Section 12 of the Charter of said city, will convene a regular meeting on Tuesday, January the 3rd, 2012, at 6 p.m. in the Commission Chambers on the second floor of the Brownsville City Hall, located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Pastor Juan Morales, please.
I would like to share scripture before I say a prayer. In Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11, the word of God says, "For I know the plans that I have for you, says the Lord. They are plans for good and not for evil, to give you a future and hope." Heavenly Father, we come before you this first meeting of the year, 2012. And Lord God, we give you thanks for another opportunity that you have given us, Lord God, to lead this city for the best. Mighty God, I pray for wisdom. I pray for knowledge on your leaders, starting with the mayor, commissioners, and all the leaders of the city of Brownsville. Lord God, help us to accomplish the goals, to accomplish, Lord God, the plans that we have for the city of Brownsville. Mighty God, we love you, we praise you, and we pray that with your help, we will be able to accomplish everything that we have for this year. And mighty God, I pray that you keep us healthy and in good shape. And Lord God, we give you thanks for all the blessings that you have given us. And mighty God, may the blessings of the Holy Spirit be with each and every one of us. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Charlie, I think you're next.
We have the mayor's report.
I think I just wanted to mention to everyone that along with our prayer for all the blessings and all the hopes we have for 2012, that I wish the same for each citizen of the city of Brownsville. Wish them all a happy new year. Wish them all the health and all the spiritual guidance that can lead us to make this city better. I'd also like to commend the city employees and the city manager and Jeff Johnson as well for a job well done in 2011. But also for implementing the helpline, which I hope some of you have read about. It's our fervent belief that I was telling my commissioners that I very much like they do would like to take each and every one of your calls whenever something is occurring, but in order to ensure that we're able to meet the needs of the community, this hotline or helpline was installed so that we can identify who the people are that have some concern about the city. We have a contact information for those persons that have concerns. We want to make sure that our city staff responds to those needs. And then the third thing is that we have a record of that so that we don't hear things of the nature of saying, well, I called the commissioner, I called the mayor, and nothing's been done. It would be very helpful to us to keep track of those concerns that the citizens of Brownsville share. We'll have a record for it, we'll have a response to it, and we'll figure out whether it's adequate and meets the needs of those concerns that that citizen has. So that being said, that's the way we're going to start the year off. So if you have some concerns, and you have, I'm sure every commissioner here will agree with me, we'd love to talk to you on an individual basis, but to make sure that we have a record of your concern, please make sure you call that line. And I think it's on the website, right, Charlie?
Yes, sir.
Okay. On the website, and if there's anybody that requires that talk to the city manager, and I'm sure we'll have it printed somewhere that is accessible to everybody. That's all my report.
Thank you, sir.
Any commissioners' reports? Go ahead.
Presentations, Employee of the Month.
Mayor, members of the commission, Happy New Year, and we welcome our new Employee of the Month for January to begin the year, Ms. Brenda Trevino from our city library. Brenda has worked with the city since 2007, and she was assigned the task of being our children's and young adult librarian. She has done this in a fantastic way, really improved the system, really improved the fact that we are now generating a lot of interest with our youth. And we've also assigned her to work not only at the main branch, but at all the other two libraries at Southmost. And she has done a fantastic job, and she has really worked day and night to assure that the programs, we have a system in place now where we have a team book, planetarium programming and things like that. She's also helped the other librarians with their responsibilities. So she's multitasked. Really, it has impressed us in her dedication. We really wanted to show dedication to our youth and our children that come to our library. She has done that in a wonderful fashion. And so thus we want to recognize her and hope she continues her efforts working for the city in this major responsibility by awarding her the Employee of the Month for January. Brenda Trevino, thank you. Here's your plaque. We're giving out the traditional watch. It's a little smaller now for the ladies. She's always on time. She really doesn't need this, but she looks good in it. So there's a watch.
Thank you.
And the pin. There you go. And of course, she's eligible for the Employee of the Year at our banquet, which is 12 months from now, in December. Congratulations, Brenda. Go ahead. You're speaking.
Well, all I really want to say is that I really do enjoy working for the city of Bronzeville. I really enjoy working with the kids, and I hope to continue working with them for a long time. And thank you.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Brenda.
Thank you.
Hosanna World Changers.
Mayor, members of the commission, I'm going to introduce Angie Henshaw, and she works for the 99 Group. It's a religious effort that's going to be at the Amigo Land at the old Kmart facility, and what their responsibility is to counsel with young adults and youth in relations to any kind of issues they may have. They're going to be there from the 20th to the February the 12th, and they've been throughout the country in other locations, and this is the first time in Brownsville. So they wanted to do a small presentation to the commission and to the people out there that want to possibly be involved in this, and we feel it's going to be a good program. So take over, Angie.
Thank you. Hello, good evening. My name is Angie, and I'm with the 99. The 99 stands for 99 young people die every day in America from preventable causes. That's car wrecks, gang violence, suicide, homicide, drug addictions, and other preventable causes. And we're seeing around our nation so many young people losing their lives that don't have to, and it was because of poor choices or wrong decisions that they made. So the 99 is a reality walkthrough theater that depicts those leading causes of death, trying to bring prevention to teenagers and young adults in your city. And we're so excited to be here in Brownsville. This is we've been to 23 cities so far. We've had over 300,000 people walk through, and just amazing stories of teenagers and young adults' lives that have been just changed and, just their eyes open, because each room is graphically reenacts real life situations. We have a car wreck scene that depicts teenagers that were either texting and driving and made that one decision, to text just that one word, and because of that, they lost their lives. And so we want to depict, the real life choices and consequences of what could happen if they're not making right choices. We have a crack house scene that's actually made by real crack addicts. It smells like it. It's not crack, but it smells like it. And we have lots of police officers that walk through every city that say this is exactly what we have to walk into and get the kids out of because something has happened. You know, they've lost their life in there. So it's a really amazing production that comes in and brings prevention to teenagers and young adults. And like I said, we're so excited to be here in Brownsville to make a difference in your community, to work with your city, and to help the teenagers and young adults here make right choices and bring reality to everyday situations that they're facing. So thank you so much.
Well, Angie, welcome to the city of Brownsville.
Thank
And we
you.
wish you all the success.
Thank you.
And we invite the whole community to assist you in any way that they can, okay?
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I applaud you in your efforts. Yes.
The next presentation is Brownsville's Biggest Loser Challenge.
Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, good evening. In less than 5 minutes, we're going to talk a little bit about why it is that the Brownsville's Biggest Loser Challenge got started and where we want to be in the future. And then Judy will talk real quickly about this year's event. Essentially, speaking in Brownsville, we have 2 times the national average of obesity. Of those, 30% being overweight. That number in itself may not look like much, but one disturbing trend among Brownsville residents is we're skipping the overweight category and going straight to obesity level. That is one of the reasons that we're holding events such as this. If you look at our national average for obesity and diabetes, we're much higher than nationally stats. We think, economically speaking, it creates a healthier workforce. Also, the cost for diabetes, as we know, is estimated over $6,000 per year. So trying to stay off with diagnosis of diabetes actually helps people to save money. Of course, the intent here is more than one. It's to have a city that has high levels of physical activity and also a city that understands what are the risk factors associated with unhealthy eating. Losing 5 to 7% of body weight reduces chances of diabetes by 50%. So just taking small steps have big yields in our health status. A year-by-year comparison, in spring 2010, our challenge was 17 weeks, and we registered 410 people. This past spring, we had a 17-week program. We registered 919 people. And this coming year in 2012, we're hoping to, at the very least, get to that number or higher. Just, are you able to move the slide? This slide. But just to show in the age category, most of the people who joined for this are 25 to 44 years, 67%. That's essentially most working individuals. It's interesting to note that also we tend to have more females than males participate, but nationally, males participation rate for us is probably higher than nationally. We had a 36%. Males tend to be less physically active than females. So I think it's important to note that we're bringing both genders out to participate. And most of these people that are coming out had not participated before. 88% had never participated or done a comprehensive program. So I think some of the baby steps that we're taking with the Biggest Loser are significant. As a whole, we've lost over 2,030 pounds through last year's results. And most people that did participate had a weight loss at the end of the event. And also, if you look at the very bottom BMI categories, this is probably the heart of what we do. We were able to reduce at the finale the normal weight increase from 4.4% to 6.8% of normal body weight. We were also at registration, 73.3% of people were marked as obese. At the finale, this stat had decreased to 64.1%. It means that a lot of these people that were morbidly obese, they continue to be overweight. As you can see, the overweight percentage went up, but it means that they're sliding in the right direction as far as health status is concerned. This is essentially what I wanted to say about our past and present challenges. We're hoping this year's challenges will be even better, and I'm going to let Ms. Garcia talk about this year's event. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Judy Garcia from the City of Brownsville. I'm the Wellness Coordinator. Like Mr. Rodriguez, Health Director, stated, we're getting ready for the registration this weekend. Some challenge information that the public should know: it is open and it is free to the public. If you're coming from San Benito, Harlingen, or McAllen, it's also free and open to you as well. And we invite as many citizens as possible. It's a great opportunity for people to get involved. It is free. Challenge winners are determined by the percentage weight loss, not pounds lost. As you may know, it's easier for a bigger person to lose pounds than it is for a skinnier person. So that is why we go through the process of awarding the winners by percentage weight loss. The participants have to be 18 years or older to register. It is a 4-month challenge that ends April 28th. So the midpoint weigh-in will be March 10th. And all participants must be present at registration and final weigh-in for a chance to win at the end. And if you have any medical conditions, please consult your doctor before registering. There's 4 different categories for the public to register under. There's large group, small group, individual female, and individual male. In the past, several people that are involved in groups, not all of them finish. And so this year, interesting thing that we're doing is, even if you register in a group, you can still win individually. So we really want to encourage. I know the amount of people that finished last year was about 200 people, and this year we're really striving to increase that amount. So that is one of our motivations. Some other prizes: in the past, most people don't show up to the final weigh-in because they say, oh, I've only lost a couple pounds, I'm not going to win. However, this year, we are adding extra prizes to in other categories. Some categories are 10 or more attending events. Every weekend we have an event, and so if the participant attends 10 or more, they'll win a prize. Another one is a largest employer with most participation gets a prize. A large team with most participants finishing gets a prize. Largest small team with most participants finishing also receives a prize, and the oldest male and female finishing will receive a prize. So it kind of gives it a fun spin for all, have an opportunity to win something. One event we do want to talk about: last year, I'm sure you're aware, we broke the largest Zumba class world record, and it is official from Guinness World Records. And this year, we're wanting to break a similar record, which is Zumbatomic, which is Zumba for kids. And so, as you can see, the event's going to take place Saturday, April 28th, 2012, at the Sports Park at 10 a.m. This event is also going to correlate with our final weigh-in, which will be at the Sports Park. For more information, you can feel free to, that is registration weigh-in. We do have a website up, which is bbl.cob.us, and we really encourage the public to go on there for more information. Registration, like I said, will be this weekend. Friday evening from 5 to 8 at the Southmost Library, and Saturday the 7th from 9 to noon at the Linear Park. And we are giving away free water bottles and pedometers to everyone that registers. So we really encourage for the public to come out and get some free stuff. There's a video that we would like to present. It's from an actual City of Brownsville employee. Albert Guzman, registered last year in the Biggest Loser Challenge, and his story is very inspiring to everyone, because you don't have to be, super obese to enter in this. You can, most people here say, you look at somebody that's okay looking, you say, oh, they don't need to lose weight, but we all have some extra pounds on us. So go ahead.
y es lo menos, o sea, y es un hábito que ya formé y que ahorita me da gusto decir que no me pesa hacerlo. Básicamente fue eso, o sea, desarrollar la rutina de ejercicio y cambiar mi dieta. Y en ese aspecto, o sea, no necesariamente tomar una dieta, o sea, lo que es Atkins o South Beach o algo, sino que simplemente manejar lo que como. O sea, no tampoco así estrictamente contar calorías, pero sí definitivamente, o sea, cortar lo que son las azúcares, almidones, lo que es la tortilla, el pan extra, eso no, refrescos eliminados de la dieta, cosas de ese tipo. Físicamente me siento, o sea, muy bien. It's like ya, no me canso de subir las escaleras, like no me fatigo tan fácil como antes, y sí, o sea, mi salud en total la siento mejor. Mi presión, o sea, cuando empecé alta siempre, cuando me la checaba, ahorita puedo decir que ya todo está normalizado. La motivación simplemente fue que decidí hacer algo para mí, o sea, no lo hice para verme mejor necesariamente, no lo hice por, por comprobarle algo a alguien, no, o sea, simplemente lo hice, o sea, para mí, o sea, por mi propio beneficio y cuando lo tomé casi como mi meta propia fue lo que me animó a seguir adelante. Lo más difícil en cuestión de esto es empezar y desarrollar la rutina, los hábitos buenos. Ya cuando se cumple eso, lo demás ya viene fácil, no se batalla.
And one point I did want to mention before I finish was he mentioned the hardest part is to start. So we really want to encourage the public to come out. There's 2 registration opportunities, which is this Friday and this Saturday. More information can be found on our city website or at the Biggest Loser website, bbl.cob.us.
I'd like to point out a couple things. Thank you, Judy and Art. Is the part about free, and that is that all events are free, whether you register or not. Of course, we'd love you to register because that allows us to be able to communicate directly with you. But if you are not into registration, you're still welcome. And if you register, but friends, family, neighbors want to come with you, we encourage that. So the numbers of registrants are actually very small in comparison to the over thousands that did participate in the events for the 3 months, and not to mention the 1,200 that came out to the Zumbathon that we had. So when you look at the numbers of 190-something that actually completed, that may sound small, but it does not take into account the hundreds that came along and participated and learned something during those times. And another thing that Judy said that I'd like to reinforce, and that is that you don't have to be terribly overweight to participate and get something out of it. You can be normal weight and just want to refresh your knowledge or find a new activity or motivate a friend or a neighbor. We know that the results in the group categories are higher than the results in the individual categories because we know that we do better when we have a partner or a group that's supporting us. So if you do or don't think that you want to register, participate. Come and join us and learn. And hopefully you will register. But if not, it's still open to you. It's still able to teach you something and interact and learn from together.
Judy, can I ask a question? It may be a silly question, but let's say that someone in the audience would like to register, but they're not going to be here this weekend. In other words, they've got to go to soccer games, or they've got to take their kids somewhere, and will not be here on Friday and Saturday. Is there any way to register by mail, online, or some other way?
Yes, thank you for asking. We are having alternate registrations. If they would please call the city and ask for more information regarding the Biggest Loser, they will be transferred to me, and I will let them know on the different opportunities for alternate weigh-ins.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure the people know and make sure that it's on our website that we're giving you every opportunity to join us. I think we should all make a point to try to do this. It's good, healthy stuff. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Consent agenda items A through I.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Motion carries.
Item 5, boards and commissions. Item 5, consideration and action to appoint or reappoint 3 members to the Brownsville Metro Transit Advisory Committee.
Good evening, Mayor, City Commissioners. Staff is requesting the City Commission to reappoint 2 members and appoint 1 new member to the Brownsville Metro Transit Advisory Committee. Currently, Mr. Galansky and Ms. Berry have requested reappointments.
Okay, now, they already sit on your board, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did anybody make you aware, we have a workshop this week? Thursday, that we were trying, but I understand they've got applications, Estela?
Yes.
Both of those 2 have already been on serving the board, and they've done a good job. They attend the meetings. And then who is the 3rd person?
Currently, we need a consumer of the service as the 3rd person, and we did have a candidate, but he had not submitted his application yet.
Okay.
So
Because I think what the whole idea is, this is not to make something burdensome, because I'd like to invite everybody to fill in an application and see where they fill in. But, so you're asking for 2?
Well, right now, because those are the only 2
Okay,
that
2
we've got.
reappointments. And I'd like to see what the commission would like to do. I guess that'll be whether you guys have a motion in a second and it passes.
I'm sorry, Mayor. I'll be in contact with Ms. Moreno, with Perez Moreno, see what, because I see that hers was up also.
Yes, and I guess she,
Has she spoken to you?
she had, because she was having some family
With her daughter?
with her
Yes.
daughter, so she was not able, and she was not wanting to continue at this
Oh,
time.
so she doesn't want to?
Right, not at
Okay.
this time.
Not a problem.
Yeah. Because see, for the public knowledge, we're having a workshop this week, I think on Thursday?
Yes, sir.
Thursday?
Yes,
Okay, and basically, we'd invite everybody to make applications, but what we're going to do is we're going to try to publicly try to figure out a procedure whereby the people that are appointed to these committees or to these different areas, that they are, first of all, qualified to serve, and second of all, have the time to serve, and so that we can get as much community involvement as we possibly can. But we also need some expertise in these committees, and I think both of the ones that you're asking to have reappointment, I know very little about it, but I do know enough to know that they're both very good appointees, and I know that they attend the meetings and they've been very productive.
yeah,
So-
both of them have very good attendance, and they both actively participate in the
And they've
meeting.
got their applications in this time. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve those 2?
Do I hear a second?
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
I
Motion.
do, only because I would like to filter out the boards.
Okay. Motion carries. Thank you. Estella, you've got the vote down here, right? Everybody,
I didn't hear.
everybody agree except,
Nay,
Nay.
because I'd like to filter out the boards.
thank you, Norma.
Okay, thank you.
Item 6, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2011-038-S to allow heavy industrial recycling center on medium industrial area for 7.5 acres out of Lot 4, Block 213 of El Jardín re-subdivision located near South Padre Island Highway on FM 511.
Honorable Mayor and City Commission, this area, the area on the proposed rezoning is shaded in red. This was tabled at the last meeting. To have a meeting on the site with the owners of the property and the applicant. Commissioner Chavez did attend the meeting, and we're here again for this public hearing. There's people in the audience that would like to speak, so it is a public hearing.
Step up to the microphone.
It's a public hearing and it's now open. Would anybody like to talk about this issue? If not, we'll,
Nothing to do with it.
First of all, Roberto Oreste, the people have a petition, and they come here asking you to hear their petition. Public has the right to say, if they want this recycling center, yes or no. You all have to hear those deals. But on the other hand, you're gonna listen to another thing called, we're gonna create jobs. Well, I don't know how many jobs you're gonna create there. But here's the issue here. A lot of them are concerned about the future of their children, the residents of that area. You have to listen to them, because you cannot guarantee what's going to happen in the future to those people. If you are living in that area and you have your children there, you got to think about that. You don't guarantee. This commission here, sir, you're not going to guarantee anything to them for their health, environmentally, even though you said they're going to follow everything to the rules. We don't know. We never will know until it's too late. So they came here asking you to hear them, asking them not to give that green light for them to do this. They can put it somewhere else. Thank you.
Letty Garzoria, hello,
Hello, Letty.
Commissioner and Mayor. The same thing that Mr. Oreste just said, we don't know the results, we don't know what's going to happen, you don't know the outlying consequences to the children, to the families, to old people, elderly people that sit out in their front yards to get a little fresh air. They have their oxygen all day, and they want to take a little, breather in the porch, kind of relax. You don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. But to make a blanket decision for everybody and make it a rah-rah situation for the person that's going to build his business, that's okay. I don't mind building businesses. I'm all for it. But think about what it's going to do to your environment, to us, to people that are sick, to children, to pregnant ladies that are just trying to have their baby. You need a healthy baby. You need a healthy environment. You need healthy individuals. You need to promote, yes, business, but listen, to what degree? Please take it into consideration. You might be affecting a lot of people, and like Mr. Oreste says, we don't know the outcomes. We saw all of those babies born without brains several years back, a whole bunch of them. We don't know. We don't know. Water, the drinking water, whatever, you don't know. And this is something that, and you participate in that also, Mayor, it's a very difficult situation. You cannot just blanket everything, say everything's going to be fine, so we want to promote business. Please take it into consideration, the health and the welfare of our citizens. Thank you. You are in the medical field, right?
Yes, thank you.
Mayor, let me just explain a little bit more about the property here shaded in red. The concerns at the last public hearing and at the P&Z meeting were from the residents in this neighborhood here. As you can see from our colors and our zoning map, the area north of State Highway 48 is all industrial. And then there's an industrial firm right adjacent to this property here that's being applied for. And then you have some commercial zoning, some industrial zoning to the south. The ditch here is 300 feet wide. That's the right-of-way. So all these houses here abutting the ditch is their backyards. When we were on the side with Commissioner Chavez, there was some existing light poles for soccer fields, baseball fields that you could see in the distance. So that's Rivera High School over here in this location. But that's the closest public structure, which is Rivera High School. As you can see here, and I don't know, the applicants were here in the audience, but I don't know why they want to step up, but the concerns were basically from the residential neighborhood back here. This is a specific use. In their specific use application, the applicant is proposing to have a staging area for recyclable metal. That will be either washers, dryers, aluminum cans, anything of metal. They would not shred, and according to the specific use, they would not be allowed to have a shredder. They would basically stockpile and then take it to the markets where shredding and all that can occur. So basically, they'll just buy from the public metal products.
Ben, excuse me. Let me just inquire, and this is for my purposes of not knowing exactly, but when the planning and zoning, when the petition comes before the P&Z, as they call it, with regards to environmental concerns, what regulations do you all follow, or how do you go about determining that that's a safe way to dispose, because if you look at refrigerators have Freon, and there are some chemicals that are involved with some of the things that might be disposed of. How do you all address that problem?
Well, what we did in this case, Mayor, and let me go back, this proposed site was, came twice to the Plan Zoning Commission. They had a proposed site further south, and that was denied by the Plan Zoning Commission, basically because of they were much closer to residential areas. So they were denied that, and they were asked to look at more of an industrial zone. So they've done that and identified this site. Basically, what we did here at the Plan Zoning Commission, and I did personally speak to the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, and did send documents to the applicant saying you have to be regulated, and the commission does have a very good website that they can go through. Spoke to a gentleman by the name of Jaime Garza of the commission, and he said that they even have a small business person dedicated to work with these entrepreneurs, of explaining to them and guiding them through their permitting process as to how to conduct the business.
Okay.
In this case,
So they have a certificate of compliance or some sort of permit by
they have engaged in what they call a notice of intent to own a recycling center.
Okay.
That's the first step.
Okay.
And unfortunately, just like the state does with wet zones, permits.
Sure.
You have to have the zoning first, and then you go and apply with them. In this case, they have to show a notice of intent, and then they work with the applicant. Unfortunately, zoning is one of the requirements for a permit. If they only accept aluminum cans, refrigerators without Freon, and very specific items, they may be exempt from permitting. But if they go into more a collection of batteries and stuff, then they would need another kind of permit. So in this.
So the permit that they're coming to get zoned on is got to do only with aluminum cans?
Aluminum cans,
refrigerators without.
dryers.
Okay, and all that is spelled out somewhere in our city records?
It will be spelled out on the specific use conditions of this application.
Okay. Now, the second question I have for you is there any way that the quality control of that, any soil samples or air samples, are they ever done by any quality controlled organization to determine whether, in fact, you have anything that might be of any harm to any citizen of Brownsville?
And those controls usually occur when there's a complaint. For example, the one on 14th Street and McDavid, I believe, the one on 14th Street did have a complaint by Victoria Elementary. So they put air sampling devices on that facility. And they have to comply, and that's also a specific use, with the height of shredded metal that they can have of those mounds of metal. They had to enclose their shredder. So some of those things are monitored by the Environmental Commission, but they usually occur after there's concern or complaint. In this situation, they are being, to their site plan, having to retain their water on site. Their metal mounds cannot exceed 8 feet, so they won't be seen from the roadway or from the backyards of these residents. And they can only take aluminum cans, refrigerators, stoves, dryers, household items, no batteries, no tires, none of that situation.
And how do we know that they'll stay in compliance? I mean, I'm not trying to quarrel
I
or
understand.
argue with anybody. I'm
No.
just trying to get the public to know and to understand exactly what it is, the kind of operation, and what safeguards we have. And also, I think it's our duty or incumbent upon this commission to make sure that somehow the city is also gets copies of records to find out what
That's
kind
correct.
of
Yes, ma'am.
emissions we have out there.
And compliance, if approved, moving forward, that will rely on our code enforcement department to make sure that that criteria is being followed all the time.
Okay, but I mean, what compliance department do we turn to for that?
Okay, we locally, our department is our code enforcement department. And they also have the state, Texas Commission on Environmental Quality.
Okay.
Okay, and they work with the applicant. And they also have a website and a hotline that people can call in if they see any concerns.
Thank you. Now, we have various others, public hearing, persons that wish to speak.
May I add something to what is said?
Make it short so that we can give everybody an equal opportunity here.
I was here the first time that this was presented. I believe Mr. Not Oreste, but Medina, I'm sorry, didn't include air conditioners. The gentleman included air conditioners in the very first presentation. Wasn't included in this one. So there is Freon, there's gases, there's other things, and this is something that is going to be disposed in this recycling center. I just want to remind the commission of that. Thank you.
Okay.
Can I,
Yeah, well, just, I think I would like to give the public the opportunity to visit on this issue, and then I'll allow any commissioner to.
I'm a little nervous. Okay, my name's Roscoe Snelson, and the governor of the port that used to be Mrs. Dale, at one time when I was 9 years old, she helped me. She went to the committee, judges, lawyers, teachers, principals, asked them to give me the chance to represent myself. I could run as fast as a high school student at that time. And later on, I got the certificate from the governor with my signature and his signature on it, awarding me for the best time, which was 9 minutes and 35 seconds and 2 miles. So I'm healthy. I passed through this neighborhood by Victoria one day, door to door to visit the people there. They didn't look so well. At the end of the day, when I left, I felt like sick. Why? Because of the contaminants. And I was hoping I'd get better, which I did. It was just a little while. That was one day. And the people don't look so good. And they don't look, if something like this happens to us, we will not live as long as we should live. And another thing that's to distract us is the place where they're bringing it. This company might be similar. When I spoke to the people that were there, they were here at the committee when that started. They told them, and they had the paper, that it was just going to be aluminum. As we can see nowadays, it's not true. A lot of the people can see that it's not just aluminum. How did it happen? With the paper that they're going to present to us, they will be able to say, well, look, we can deal with high industrial, as that company did, as Wilkinson's. Wilkinson's has contaminated the people. I've had principals from before this company lands in our area, principals from Rivera, Vermilion, Perkins. The principal in Perkins has been there at Victoria, Palm Grove, a business intermediate, all these, and Garza. All the schools, the children are there. That's where the children are going to be on this map. Those schools there. The smart idea is to bring in this company into our area is because the trees that are affected aren't here. Many of the pine trees, like pecans, they need alkaline, but a lot of the trees that these materials will slowly affect everybody, and the trees that would be here to show it are not here. It's real smart because there's none of these pine trees that are actually affected. And I went from neighbor to neighbor and also asked them what they think and the way everything will contaminate us. And I showed them that, I expressed to them how the people are sick already and that these things do affect. Some people don't believe and some people do. But slowly, people who get chemotherapy, after a while, they can't get as strong so fast. If I asked them, if right now it takes 4 or 5 days to get one cut cured, later on, it's going to take you a little longer. Why? Because it's like something's next to you. If somebody puts a poison somewhere and removes it after a day, and somebody else just passes in that area, they might be able to smell it. If maybe machines won't pick it up, what they're asking for, but people can. And all this would affect many families. And we wish not to go through what they went through. Though recycling, they're on the steps to the inside of Brownsville. I also spoke to a lot of businesses. All the businesses they felt, people that work there and live in the community, some were franchised, some are thinking, well, they have to move. Some industrials say, well, they're light, and they're allowing this heavy industrial into their area that, well, they would expect the same thing. And this should be like, if I don't know who's the governor right now of the port, it should be addressed to their doorsteps. And they should judge it, and they would look at it and say, well, let's see how dangerous it is. Depending on the danger, if it needs 3 mile zone, then they'll send them in further. That's what they're afraid of. I think they should be looked at in the port. And our community now, we have churches, Burger King, McDonald's, pawn shops, a lot of businesses that have started to grow that believe to make Brownsville beautiful. And when I visited the other schools a little further that way, the reason they joined in with us on the belief is because they don't want it to be tabled towards their side. Nobody wants this. Not for us. I explained to them, I'm not against it. If they go to the port and they make their business there, they'll have the proper stuff to operate it, I'll go work there. And whatever falls around, there's no community. And I'll come back to my family very nicely, happy. I'll do my earnings, and I'll go and come. And it's jobs, that's good. But if it's some type of anger from Mexico, I'm not going against it and looking at it like that, or who or what. But why would anybody do that to our community? Our community. I wouldn't do it to anybody. I would not cast that, not even to enemies. And there's a lot of habitat. If it does get exposed, all the soil, I spoke to the people on the drainage, that they remove soil and they carry to different parts, people that buy it, alongside on these banks, that soil is already contaminated. And then if it leaks into the soil and goes into the water, the birds that are from the sanctuary, they also help me with my petition, the people, the owners there too, because the birds may not come back, and it may disorient them, may not go back where they're supposed to go. People will say, no, but it does. It can disorient you. If chemotherapy is something that we can't see that does something similar, but it's only applied at a certain part of the body, but how does it affect the rest of the body? One thinks.
Thank you.
I don't think we need this.
Okay. Appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Commissioners, do you have a time restraint or something that you want to say something before? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
Oh, okay.
I do want to say that this is probably.
Okay. I cut him off first.
Sorry.
Let me let some of these folks may have to go.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, sorry, I keep looking at my phone because I'm reading the Brownsville Herald, and I'm usually studying out of the area, and I come back, I'm still a registered voter here and everything. My name is Linda Peña, and I live like 400 feet away from where this construction site is. And my uncle lives literally behind that canal. My dad works at Amphels. If you've seen the stuff that comes out of those people's noses, when they get sick, etc., the stuff that's in the air is not good for them. I don't want this around our neighborhoods. We have Vermillion Elementary right there. You have Garcia right across, and you have Rivera. And our kids are going to be like breathing that. I'm going to be breathing that because I plan on coming back. I'm not interested in that. I really am not. I know we need business, and I'm all for business. We can move this several miles away to the port, and we'd have no problem with that. But we don't want it in our area. And someone mentioned that it's already an industrial area. Just because a community is just waking up doesn't mean you shouldn't listen to it. Thank you.
We are going to listen to you, okay?
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of the commission. My name is Robert Gracia. I own a property, a commercial property, that currently there's a restaurant located 2 lots from where this business is going to go up at, or they're suggesting to go up at. And my only concern is that the city of Brownsville has really progressed. We're really moving forward. And I'm proud of the city. I was born and raised here. I have nothing against any kind of business, specifically this one, going up. I don't think that a recycling center should be going up on a major thoroughfare where tourists go to and from the island. And every recycling center that I know about is an eyesore. I came to the meeting before the Planning and Zoning Commission, and there's beautiful photos that were put up on the screen. They show palm trees and fences that are going to go around this business. Well, that's fine and dandy, but if you all look at all the other recycling centers that we currently have in the city, including the one on 511, that the same thing was said, that there was going to be fences going up. You were not going to be able to see the trash. Well, I'll tell you what, I would hate to be the owner of that hotel that sits right behind that recycling center because you can see the trash. You go over the bridge going towards the island, if you look to your left, once you pass 511, you can see that mess there. So all I'm asking is for the city commission and you, Mr. Mayor, to take a very serious consideration into this issue. And what we want for Brownsville is to progress. There are areas, specific areas where this business can go up at that won't affect the city. It won't affect our tourism, and it definitely won't be an eyesore on the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you for speaking. Dutch, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just thought I'd be polite. Okay, I think there's been a little bit of misinformation. I've been inundated with calls ever since, when was it? Monday? Today is Tuesday? Yeah, Monday. There's an article that appears in page 2 of the Brownsville Herald, which I'm a big advertiser, residents say no to new center. And it's full of misinformation. So I think I believe in fully informing everyone what's going on, so I have done my homework. International Recycling Center is a family-owned business that started 17 years ago in Matamoros, Tamaulipas, Mexico. This business consists of purchasing and collecting used items suitable for recycling from the public and various companies for the sole purpose of reselling such to shredding facilities, foundries, and businesses that specialize in recycling these types of items, which include residential and commercial appliances, which are refrigerators, freezers, washing machines and dryers, air conditioners, stoves, ovens, household items, which are bicycles, fencing, siding, used copper wiring and plumbing fixtures, and similar products, all of which are non-hazardous and gas-free, to answer the lady's question. In fact, the city of Brownsville has certain days they collect appliances and you bring them in. If they're gas-free, they take them. We're requesting permission for the opportunity to establish our business at 7750 East Padre Island Highway, Brownsville, Texas. The major benefit to our community, Brownsville and neighboring communities, is that the primary operation of our business is a collection of scrap metal that is found lying around throughout the area, both in residential neighborhoods and vacant land, as well as in full view of the public at certain companies and areas alongside our roadways and park areas, including the neighborhood right in back of the site. There were 3 refrigerators sitting out in front of houses. They weren't even chain closed. I hope the children don't get into them and suffocate. Our business is relatively simple, and we will abide by all applicable laws and ordinances at the local, state, and federal levels, including but not limited to the City of Brownsville, which has to do with the signage and things like this, Cameron County, TCEQ, Texas Commission of Environmental Quality, which we've already spoken to at great length, the Environmental Protection Agency, which I've already spoken to at great length. In fact, I had to speak to them to get some of the stuff, what TCEQ, what they meant on their website, because I could not even find it in Webster's Dictionary. And last but certainly not least is OSHA, of whom I've been dealing with personally for 44 years. And that's the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Once we purchase such materials from the public, which requires our suppliers, unlike other places, to furnish a valid government-issued photo ID along with the statement of origin of the said material upon their arrival at our facility. In other words, we're going to make sure they aren't pulling the valves off of sprinkler systems, stealing from the PUB and stuff like this. Okay, the process we implement is as follows. Buying scrap metals from the public. Once at our facility, such will be weighed, compressed, and collected until we've gathered sufficient amounts to deliver to those industries and recycling businesses, our clients, who then take it to the next level, one of which is a $20 million shredder that was just purchased at the port, which is one of 3 shredders. But if you want to go to the port, you have to pass through the port entrance. Who's going to take a bicycle through the port entrance? Who's going to take an air conditioner through the port entrance? They're going to leave them in their front yard, of which there are many in the neighborhood across from the canal, and I have photos of them. Okay. We are fully aware that there are rules in effect pertaining to how long such items can be stowed on site, and we are obligated to abide by such. In other words, there's a 180-day rule for certain items, there's 90-day rules for other items. In fact, since we are cognizant of cash flow and other facets of a successful business operation, it is in our best interest to move it out as quickly and as safely as possible. Our hours of operation will be from 8 o'clock a.m. to 6 o'clock p.m. Monday through Saturdays. The equipment to operate our business consists of scales, that would be a personal use scale, and truck scales when you pull in, forklifts, aluminum compactor for cans and the like, aluminum compactor, strapping machines and equipment to bundle up such, and we have pictures of all this. Front-end loaders, along with a 6,000 square foot warehouse, which is already in place, a 6,000 square foot office building, which we will be constructing, and an 1,800 square foot
I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr. Fisher.
Are we through?
Mr. Fisher, go ahead and finish.
And an 1,800 square foot covered canopy for covered storage, which is already in place. Initially, we will provide 8 full-time positions for employment and hope to add more as our business grows and prospers. Thank you very much. We're looking very forward to helping keep Brownsville beautiful. That's why we're doing this thing. We aren't going to be shredding. We aren't going to be taking acid out of batteries, because we are not accepting batteries. This is simply a collection facility. We have moved it to where we were informed it would be best. Now, if there is a restaurant 2 places around, that restaurant is in an industrial area. I can't help that, but this is industrial. We are simply a collection point. We have 24 $3,000 trees already in place that I have photos of. We have photos of what the neighborhood in back looks like, and it's a very nice little neighborhood, you know. But they are overlooking a crane facility, of which I have photos on, that is loud. We are not going to be producing noise. We're not going to be producing dust, as that crane facility is. We have a retaining pond, of which they do not have. We are going to have foliage in the front, of which they do not have. We're going to do it right, because we happen to love Brownsville, and if you look at any of my developments or any of my neighborhoods, I do not do grid patterns. I don't do 50 by 100 lots. We do places that people can expect their values to grow, not to shrink. And I have any information and all the information if you'd like to see the forms we have to fill out and everything like this.
Thank you very much.
Any questions?
I have one. Say someone takes a refrigerator or an AC. Of course, it can have Freon. How do they dispose of it?
They will take the copper out of it. It will be Freon free. See, right now, I can't even take my kid's bicycle. I can't even take an old window unit out of an old house that I bought, because I don't have a concealed weapons permit, and I don't want to go through the entry of the port. Okay, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the stuff off the streets. In y'all's neighborhood, in my neighborhood, in your neighborhood, in everyone's neighborhood out here. And to have someone think that we're going to be shredding, we're going to be creating air pollution and things like this, that's why they have TCEQ, that's why they have EPA, that's why they have OSHA. That's why we even have signage of the city that we abide by. We're just trying to clean up the city. You know, 511's a tourist corridor. That's where that gentleman was talking about. It looks junky. He's right. It's a tourist corridor and it looks junky. If you look at all the other buildings, if you've been out to the site, you'll see exactly what we're talking about. We have the highest bank anywhere along that irrigation. And to correct someone about buying the spoils from the irrigation district, all those spoils are on our land because it is fantastic soil and it has no pollutants in it whatsoever. And when anyone offers me free dirt, I take it. Thank you.
Buenas tardes. Yo soy Marilú Villarreal. Nosotros somos los que hemos venido ya en varias ocasiones, hasta apenas nos da allá. Pues queremos venir a trabajar aquí. Nosotros tenemos un negocio, ya tenemos ya por toda la familia, hemos sido chatarreros desde mis papás, mis hermanos. Mis hermanos también se vinieron, están en Edinburgh, en Mission, en San Benito, se acaba de poner otro. O sea, es un negocio bien sencillo. Nada complicado, sí se compra toda la chatarra. Refrigeradores, carros, fierros, bicicletas, todo lo que es reciclable lo compramos. Pero pues no tiene ningún, no le veo yo el tantísimo problema. No entiendo porque yo no domino el idioma, no sé qué tanto dice toda esta gente, pero el negocio de la chatarra es bien sencillo. Bien sencillo, nada contamina. ¿Qué te contamina? El fierro. Me traes el fierro, maquinaria, un montacarga, un trascabo, una báscula, y eso es todo. Una báscula electrónica chiquita para el metal. ¿Cuál es el metal? Pues que las latas de aluminio que vienen y te venden, que las cacerolas. ¿Qué contamina eso? El cobre, el bronce, eso es. La báscula grande, pues que si tenemos suerte y que venga un tráiler lleno de fierro, descargarlo. ¿Qué contamina? La máquina tiene un imán, lo baja, la tierrita. ¿Eso es contaminación? Eso es todo. Gracias. La verdad que es un
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. I don't know where to start. I mean, this is a scrap metal yard. It's not a recycling center. I know that, you know, since we're supposed to be an environmentally progressive city, you know, we're supposed to, you know, go off and, you know, try to, you know, recycle, you know, conserve, you know, do the right thing, you know, be environmentally conscious about, you know, our environment, right? But I see a recycling center or the scrap metal yard as a way of contaminating things, you know, because, you know, it sets a precedent for other businesses to go in there and say, hey, I can also set up a recycling center, you know, and I can put in a shredder. I can get this license and then get this license and then get this license, just like in Wilkinson's area, you know. I mean, the first thing that I want to say is, like, you know, we have 444 signatures of people that, you know, don't want it in our area or in our neighborhood. So that's one. The second one is also the environmental hazards that it can cause, because there's a lot of environmental hazards that it can cause. She was, I heard Dutch talking about, you know, that he's basically going to take in, you know, refrigerators, stoves, stuff like that. Well, I mean, there's been isolated cases where people actually go into a hospital, steal the equipment from the hospital and take an x-ray machine, and, you know, they get the cobalt that's in there, in the cesium. You know, one of the major accidental nuclear disasters that's happened isn't in Fukushima, or it isn't in Chernobyl. It actually happened in Brazil, where, you know, a group of people went into a hospital, took that out, and, you know, basically 150,000 people got sick. They had to evacuate a city of 20,000 people. If you go on to the Wikipedia, I mean, they have they'll give you the story. It's somewhere in Goiás, Brazil. You know, but I mean, and there was another case in Florida where, you know, people, you know, the same thing happened, where they had, like, you know, they got some radioactive stuff and they put it in a scrap metal yard. And that's great that, you know, Mr. Fisher's going to take some steps by, you know, basically, you know, saying he's not going to, you know, he's going to check ID if he finds anything suspicious. I mean, that's all great and stuff. But I mean, you know, this goes deeper than that, because we're setting a precedent for other businesses to go in there. And I mean, this is something Brownsville doesn't need. We don't need this, especially right next to Walmart. You have Walmart in that little blue area right there on G. I think that's the Walmart area. And about the recycling center being 300 feet away from the other houses there, I'm not sure if it's 300 feet. 300 feet's like a football field. I don't think, is a canal really 300 feet? Is it really a football field apart from from the business where it's at to, right? Is that what it is? 300 feet, I think?
200 feet.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, you know, I just want to make sure that, you know, the 300 feet are actually there. You know, because to me it seems like, you know, just right across You could just basically throw a rock across a canal, because I live in a canal. I mean, right in back of a canal. And it's a really good canal. I mean, the drainage district does a real good job. It's really spread out. It's a really, really good canal. You know, and, you know, there's even wildlife that go in there. We have huge cranes or whatever. But I can basically get a rock and throw it across there. But I think this canal is a lot smaller than that. Yeah, because it runs, yeah, because, I mean, the canal isn't 300 feet apart. I'd say it's like maybe 100 feet, you know, 150 feet. You know, like, you know, a human can throw like a rock around that far away. So, I mean, you know, I just don't want it to escalate to where he needs another permit and another permit and another permit. So basically you say, oh, well, now that you have a metal shredder here, let's build up a, you know, a containment unit so it won't be raining on the, you know, the schools nearby or the residents. Because on a good day, if the wind's blowing like east, you know, it might fall on Walmart. You know, I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, in the future, because this is a slippery slope. We don't know if down the road he might actually do that. You know, there's got to be some guarantee. But, I mean, I totally oppose it. The residents here oppose it. There's a lot of people that are here that are opposing it. We don't want it in our neighborhood. I don't want it in my neighborhood. I mean, if would y'all want it in your backyard? Would it be okay if this is not toxic? Then why don't you build it by Hannah or, you know, by the mall? You know, because it doesn't belong there. You know, and I'm pretty sure those are commercial districts. You know, and also an industrial district, because you can have an industrial district where it's like 2 people working and making shoes, or you can have an industrial district where, you know, people are making like, you know, 1,000 shoes a day, and that belongs in the Port of Brownsville. So I don't know. I mean, you know, I'm just trying to set my opinion up here.
Well, I thank you for your comments.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner, did you wish to address the?
I'll just let him finish.
Oh, he's finished, no? Oh, was there someone else? I'm sorry.
Buenas noches a cada uno de ustedes. Mi nombre es Erlinda Peña. Yo tengo viviendo atrás de donde quieren poner el negocio de aluminio, de las cosas que quieren comprar. Yo estoy como la señorita, no sé el idioma, pero sí tengo 20 años y sí sé que animales se van desde ahí, víboras, ardillas, animales muertos, por todo el mugrero. Si así que no está la planta de aluminio, hay bastante mugrero. Salen víboras, en la puerta de mi casa se han parado víboras, le diré que de 3 pies, 4 pies. ¿Se imagina con esto? ¿No sabe usted que traigan los botecitos de aluminio, los refrigeradores, que químicos? ¿Por qué no lo ponen en el puerto mejor? Hay otros lugares. Ya bastante tenemos nosotros con los animales que van a la colonia ahí. Yo tengo 20 años, había 3 casas en esa colonia, cuando nosotros fuimos los cuartos que fuimos a vivir ahí. Quisiera que alguien fuera a vivir ahí, enseguida del canal, para que sepa, lo que es vivir ahí y ahora poniendo algo más. No es ningún circo, es una realidad. Y que la vive uno. Quien la vive es el que sabe lo que vive. Los que van y que quieren producir más trabajo, está el puerto más adelante para que lo hagan. O otros lugares. Pero ahí yo creo que necesitan irse a vivir primero y luego hablar. Es todo. Gracias.
Muchísimas gracias. Someone else, Charlie?
The first speaker wants to speak again.
Gentlemen, if we can, I don't mean to knock everybody off, but if you would make it short and to the point, you know, otherwise we'll never finish here.
It's still a high industrial in an area where it doesn't belong, and it offends the other industrials that are there. Some of them are light and a medium, and for this one to just jump in is they don't feel right. And the principals that have, on the petition, the principals of the schools that I've showed out to you, believe in everything, all the children of the whole communities, further, that are there, they feel the safety for them, then I'm for that too. And just like Mr. Wilkinson's was up here in that time, and he expressed all this, just aluminum and all that, and gave us a beautiful story to the committee, the principals really believe in the people up in the committee. There's a lot of power behind y'all. And once Wilkinson got a hold of the committee back then, he used that. And all that's being used, and now look at him today. This is just giving them a step where they can't say no. If the committee wants to bring him down to light industrial, that'll be good. But he's asking for high industrial. where he's at the potential.
Thank you,
Thank you.
thank you. I think that it's apparent there is opposition and some in favor. I noticed this petition that was on my desk, but I don't know where it came from. I think everybody got a copy of it. I just want to make sure, I think for the minutes of the meeting, I think the gentleman that just spoke raised his hand, and I think he's the one that presented this to the commission. Is that correct? Okay. No, what I want to do is I just want the record to be clear on the minutes of this today. We've allowed everybody to speak, whether for or against, and that's the democracy of the thing. But the other thing that to be fully inclusive, I have a petition that I would like to have somehow or another identified and put with the minutes of today, so that everybody, we can acknowledge that we've heard everybody out in the public. Now, I will invite the commissioners, if anybody wishes to make a comment with regards to, I think somebody's been out there and somebody else hasn't. I don't know. Go ahead. Commissioner Rick, I think you were the first one.
We have guidelines that we follow when we make our decisions. Planning and zoning gave their recommendation because they listened to it, and now it comes before us. It wasn't opposed. We didn't, in the way we function, that's why we wanted to hear you, because we have to listen to what you have to say to this. There's an emotional factor that comes into this, but like any attorney, when you go into a courtroom, there's a certain guideline that you have to follow. We have to follow certain guidelines. Planning and zoning has given a specific use, granted a specific use that gives this business certain boundaries that they have to follow. I'm in agreement with the people in the neighborhoods being afraid of the pollutants and what could possibly happen with businesses, not necessarily of this nature, but a different one. Planning and zoning approved it. It's come to us. We've heard it. There are things, but honestly, I've seen these kinds of projects. What is different about this one is this. People have complained about Wilkinson's. People have complained about on Highway 48. There's another one that's emitting into a neighborhood. You need to realize this. Everybody, or the majority of the people here, spoke and said, we don't want this for our future. We need a set of precedents. We cannot go after Wilkinson's, okay? This city commission, under our boundaries and guidelines, cannot go to Wilkinson's and make them stop or put them out of business. People have to sue them. People have to report it to the EPA. People have to report it to OSHA so that they can come in. We cannot regulate if we deny this company from coming in, we cannot set standards for others that are going to come in the future. We have to start somewhere. We can't touch them because they fall under a grandfather clause. Wilkinson's, all these other people, they fall under clauses. You got to understand, do I sympathize? Yes. Do I realize that people that have received emissions in the past get hurt? Yes. Are their lives at risk? Yes. Have I seen somebody with the different kinds of diseases, including lung cancer? Yes, I have. But businesses such as these that are going to be coming in the future into the city of Brownsville, recycling is the future. There's a lot of money to be made in recycling. There's businesses that we're trying to currently attract to the city of Brownsville that deal in the recycling matters, that we're trying to get them in. The only way we can regulate them as per our ordinances, as per our guidelines, is to set a precedence. You know what? We allowed this business to come in, but they had to comply this way, this way, this way, and this way. So guess what? Tomorrow, you bring in your business to the city of Brownsville, and you want to do recycling, you know what? We have precedents now. We have this business on Highway 48 that's following this, that's being compliant. From now on, you have to comply because it's already here. We can't touch these other guys. We can't touch them because they're grandfathered. Anytime we try to go after them, the city tries to go after them, get off my property. I'm grandfathered. Okay? You want to deny these people? Not a problem. The sympathy will kick in. Everybody will say, I don't want that for the people in the neighborhood. Guess what? The popularity vote is not going to be there. They're not going to vote for me. My friend owns a restaurant. Okay? Do I sympathize? Yes, I do. You need to realize that when you sit up here, you make an overall decision that's going to affect this city and its future. If you deny them, they're going to go somewhere else. Se van a llevar su dinero por otra parte. Es negocio. Hay dinero para hacerse. Lo van a llevar, lo van a sacar de Brownsville. If that will make you happy, so be it. This commission will probably grant you for this company not to come in. But when other companies want to come into the city in the future, we have no guidelines. We have, as of yet, no precedents to be able to tell future companies that come in right now, these are the guidelines you have to follow. We don't have it. Can we establish it with a company like this? Yes, we can. That's what keeps me. My vote, in essence, was a nay. Okay? For different reasons, for different factors. The neighborhood, all these other things. But as an elected official, as a person that sits up here and makes the decisions for the city and the way they're going to affect the future and the companies that are going to come in, we as a commission, as a board, as a P&Z, cannot set it for future companies coming in because as of yet, right now, we do not have anything set in paper that says we've already regulated somebody that's doing this. Don't say no. You don't know. Don't say no. Don't say no.
Okay.
We have to make a decision for the future of this community. Please understand, do I sympathize with the neighborhoods? Yes, I do. I have a problem right now with my sister who lives on Rey Jaime, right behind Highway 48, where they have some sort of a dust in their backyard. Have we looked into it? Yes, we have. Can we do anything to them? No, we can't, because we do not have anything on book or on record to be able to stop it in the future. You need to give it to somebody so that in the future when they come in, we can tell them, no, you can't, because here it is. That's the purpose of the specific use. If we would have given it to them open, just open like that, go ahead, feel free. They could have brought in anything they wanted. The specific use limits and guides them as to what they can do. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anyone over here?
This is probably one of the hardest votes that I'm ever going to have to make in a lot of ways, because my goal was to create as many jobs as possible to help these families, to put their children through school, whatnot. But on the same hand, I have seen Wilkinson scrap metal. I have seen people that are ill that reside in our district. I have seen the emails that flow in from this company that Rick is talking about, that they can't breathe, that they're sick. I know that this has nothing to do with milling, and a lot of people have made their case saying that, it will progress. They're going to make a lot of money collecting scrap metal. And then what? And then what? And this is right within our city. And we have 444 people that say they do not want this. We have schools of principals and teachers huddling to protect their children. And the answer should be clear. We do want jobs, but our families and our children matter more. And all I can think of right now is every single child and every single family that don't want this. And whether they're right or wrong, their voice matters, and their 444 signatures matter. And that's what they want, and as a commission, that is what they want for our community for the future now. And we can't stop something happening in the future, but together as a team, we have to see what we have at hand and vote on that, and for these children that we are huddling in families that we're trying to protect. And Dutch is an amazing, amazing realtor, and his wife. They are one of the best realtors that we have here in Brownsville, and I would recommend him any day of the week for anything. but this is a very hard decision, and I keep seeing these elementaries, I see these families, I remember the doors that opened, you know, with respirators when I was block walking because of this metal soot and just all sorts of components, all sorts of things. And like she was saying, Amphils, when they blow their nose, my father also worked for Union Carbide, and he still, you know, has issues to this day. So as a commissioner, I feel I was put here to make these final decisions for these little voices that join together, and I will vote no to protect them, because I am that hand that has to do that. If we don't, who else will? And that's
Okay.
it.
Any other commissioners wish to address anything? Okay.
My mom actually lives in that neighborhood. I've gone out to the site. And regarding these other companies that are in the city, there are regulations. There's agencies that are out there that they regulate these type of businesses. The problem is, we're not, as a community, we're not calling in the violations. We're not reporting them. And that's where we, as community members, we have to be active participants. If there's something that you feel is a violation, you have to call in, make the report to the appropriate agencies. There are codes, there are regulations that these companies have to abide by, and we have to make sure that we don't leave it to the next person to make that report. It's important and it's imperative for each of us to take that responsibility to report any violations. And if there are violations, the right agency is going to come in and correct those companies that are violating. I mean, I grew up in that neighborhood, and I've gone to the site. I know the concerns of the community, but I believe that the concerns can be addressed if this company were to be in violation of any of the city ordinances as well as the state statutes and stuff. We need to make sure that we speak up if there are any of those violations, even with the businesses that are already in place. There is a mechanism in place where we can speak up and we can make sure that those businesses abide by the codes and stuff, so.
Everybody?
I wanted to add one more thing. These 444 people that signed these petitions, I want to thank them, because it's very hard to sit up here on the bench and make a decision of what you think is right and wrong. And every single one of you that showed up, I want to thank you, because you are telling me what you want, and I can work with that. And I appreciate that you care about our district, and I appreciate that you took the time to be here, and I appreciate the fact that you care about not just your own family, but the other families around here. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, before we, I'm sorry, are we, and this would be to Mr. Fisher, is this the only location we have?
This is the location Jessica said would be ideal.
But I guess what I'm suggesting is,
Wait.
but what I'm suggesting is, because we have 400 residents that are voicing their.
That's.
Okay,
that's
wait. Let's have a little order here. We're gonna, the question was, no, she posed the question to you. Would you mind coming and addressing at the podium, okay? And just go one to one. It's about questions that are pertinent to the issue, please.
Yes.
And let's keep the antics down. We just need the facts here.
Yes.
Is this the only location that we that we have available for this business?
It's
Or is there another
certainly-
location
No,
that we
there
can
is
look
not.
into?
No, we
Nowhere
tried
within
to
the
put,
city of
no,
Bronzeville?
no, not at this price, not where we're gonna get the agreements, not with the zoning, how the zoning is. Now, if we want to change the name and call it a collection facility, but we don't have collection facilities from that on those use districts, we could call it a collection facility because that's what it is. We're crushing aluminum cans. People crush them in their yard. We're not doing anything more than that. We're collecting it. If you go next door, and you were kind enough to show up, not other people were kind enough to show up, but we appreciate you coming by after we made a certain appointment with someone. And as you could see, the crane facility, of which I have numerous photos that were taken today.
If we could stick to the answer to the question, please. That's just
Okay, there is no place that's anywhere near that price per square foot.
Okay,
that we could put.
I don't think that the question was price or anything else. The question was simply, do you have any other place that you could go? And your answer is basically no at
No.
that price, period. Anything else?
My question, Ben, have you reviewed these signatures?
Yeah, that's another thing I want to see.
Okay, thank you, Dutch.
They were just turned into.
Could you state for the record or for the viewing public the policies that the City Commission and the Planning and Zoning is guided by in when making these decisions, the square footage or the footage that's to allow for the person to actually be able to contest it?
Okay, yes, Commissioner. Basically, we, and this map doesn't show it, but there's a 200-foot radius around that shaded red parcel. And there are some sites, some lots in that circle in the back of that property. In order to have a protested petition, in this case, the city secretary would have to verify those names to get at least 20% of those registered names of people that, 20% of the land area within that circle in order to have a protested petition. What that means, have a protest petition, that you need a supermajority to override the Planning and Zoning Commission, and so that's what it is. I mean,
the applicable provision, I think it might be of assistance to the commission. Basically, if a protest against an Atlas Amendment has been filed with the city secretary, duly signed by the owners of 20% or more of either of the area of the lots of land included in such amendment or of those immediately adjoining the lots of land and extending 200 feet thereof, such proposed amendment shall not be effective without the favorable votes of at least 6 city commissioners. So if that protest that you have, and it was turned into the city, contained adequate signatures, it could trigger a supermajority provision requiring 6 votes to pass.
Okay, does the protest, and I want to make this clear, does the protest have to be filed at the planning and zoning stage, or or can it be done at any stage of the proceeding?
At the city secretary's office.
At
They
any
need to
stage- at any stage of the proceeding, but the city secretary has to verify the signature.
Okay, but here's my question is, I'm asking the lawyer, does it, I mean, if this thing is filed here, does it have, in other words, or does it have to be filed at the planning and zoning, or can it be filed here? And then at this particular point, how do we know whether if it can be filed at this particular point, how do we know whether we have 20% of the people that fall within that category?
To answer your questions, first of all, I think it can be filed here. I think it being filed before the city commission and it being filed with the city secretary are fundamentally the same.
Well,
second of all, I think we probably would have to review those signatures to determine if the 20% complied.
That's exactly my point, is there's no way that whether we have 1 vote for or 6 votes for, we don't know how the effect of any vote of the commission at this particular point in time would be until you verify the signatures and what percentage that pertains to the area that we're talking about that we have, you know, unfortunately. I mean,
that's exactly correct, Member.
Because I mean, legally, you've got a serious issue here, guys. To be honest with you, I don't think you can really do anything until you verify these.
I didn't want to go there, Mayor, because of the obvious, but I've been through this before where we have 100 signatures to 500 signatures turned in. But like I said earlier, we follow a certain guideline that's established through the city. So how many of these qualify? How many of these signatures qualify?
You know, unfortunately, I don't assume that there is a deadline before you can file it with a city secretary, according to what you guys tell me. So this is just as legitimate today as it was yesterday or 5 days or 10 days ago. So I see no alternative from a procedural standpoint that we're going to have to table this motion one more time and take a look at these signatures. Otherwise, whatever you do here is void.
At the very least, Mayor, you wouldn't know how many votes we needed to pass the measure.
I don't know. I mean, because I don't know how many votes I need for it to pass. Okay? So I need, first of all, a motion to close public hearing.
Motion to close.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now, the second motion I would need would be to table to verify these petitions.
Move to table to verify signatures?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. But,
Our next meeting.
okay, please, Madam Secretary, it's tabled until the next meeting, and the Madam Secretary will be instructed to verify the signatures. And I'd also like all the applicable provisions sent to my office from the planning and zoning, so I need to make sure that we don't run into this problem again. And Mark, I need some help on this one, okay?
Item number 7,
Public hearing.
public hearings. I'm sorry, public comment.
I don't know who's first.
Okay, first one is Mr. Roberto Resti. consideration and action regarding approval of the proposed rotation schedule for a mayor pro tempore and a deputy mayor pro tempore for 2012.
All right, if you all recall, we were trying to address the mayor pro tem and the deputy mayor pro tem issue, and we'd asked the council to give me a little bit of background. What has happened before, by virtue of a commission motion, was that there was a rotation that was done for the different commissioners, and I think we all talked about it the last time. Everybody agreed that that would be a good thing, and I'm all for it. As far as how the rotation occurs, I had a real simple solution, was to start on the right-hand side and pair off the commissioners with on the left-hand side, which means that Commissioner Estela would be with Commissioner Rose, and then Jessica would be with Commissioner Longoria, and then Commissioner Zamora would be with John. And the way that it would work as far as seniority goes, since Dr. Gowan has been here longer, then she would be the first mayor pro tem, and then Estela would be the deputy, and then on the second go-round, they would switch around. Commissioner Longoria would be the mayor pro tem, you would be the deputy. If something were to happen, to make sure, because Commissioner Longoria was talking about how, you got to make sure that you know that we got how to run a business, how to run a meeting. So I'm sure all of you can, but you can kind of learn from the older one, or at least the one who's been here longer. And then Commissioner Zamora has been here longer than Commissioner Delgado. So if she would be the mayor pro tem at first, and then deputy, and then we kind of switch, and let's try it for a year, and everybody gets a shot. Hopefully I don't miss too much, but at least, if I do, you guys can, do a great job. So if everybody's in agreement, that's the way the rotation will go. Is that fine with everybody? I don't think we need a motion, Mark, because we've already got them. Okay. Next item.
Item 9, consideration and action to adopt resolution number 2012-001 to reaccept, review, amend, and readopt all of the provisions listed in the documents titled City of Brownsville, Texas Amended Investment Policy and City of Brownsville, Texas Amended Investment Strategy Statement.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Commission, this is an investment policy that the city has had for many, many years, since 1996. And we are required by the Texas Government Code, Chapter 2256 of the Public Funds Investment Act, Subchapter 8, called Authorized Investments for Governmental Entities, Section 2256.003 of subsection E, that states the governing body of an investing entity shall review its investment policy and investment strategies not less than annually. The government body shall adopt a written instrument by rule, order, ordinance, or resolution stating that it has reviewed the investment policy and the investment policy or investment strategies. The City Commission adopted the city's investment and investment strategy policy on September 24th, 1996. The city's investment and strategy policy has been amended 13 times since 1996. This item that we're presenting tonight is really just a housekeeping item. Our policy states that we must revisit this policy annually and make many amendments where they are needed. This policy has a few amendments, like amending the investment brokers. We're also updating all the funds that the city has added during the last time that this amendment was made. It's a very conservative policy. The city does not invest its idle cash in risky Wall Street investments such as derivatives. Our investment policy's primary objective is for preservation of capital, safety of city funds, maintenance of sufficient liquidity, maximization of return within acceptable risk restraints, and diversifications of investments. All of this started way back in 1996 when the state of Texas required cities such as ours to develop and adopt investment and strategy policy. And this happened right after Orange County, California, filed for bankruptcy on December 6, 1994. 94 was a recession year. If some of you may recall, we had an 82 recession, we have a 94 recession. The stock market went down, and as a result, Orange County became the largest municipality in the U.S. history to declare bankruptcy after the county treasurer of Orange County lost $1.7 billion of taxpayers' money through investments in risky Wall Street securities. So tonight, all we're asking is that you approve this resolution 2012-001 as required by the policy.
Do I hear a motion?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dean.
Item 10, consideration and action to award a contract for engineering and surveying services for a capital improvement street and drainage project for the City of Brownsville Engineering Department.
Honorable Mayor, City Commissioners, this item was, that I'm bringing was tabled last time. Just going to read again the recap. On January the 18th, 2012, the Purchasing and Contracting Services Department presented a term contract on a rotation list for engineering and surveying services and miscellaneous projects for the Engineering Department. On an update, on November 28, 2011, the City of Brownsville received a proposal from Engineering and Surveying Services to request design work for Jefferson Street and drainage improvement. This is on district from Commissioner John Villarreal. Staff recommendation is to award a contract for engineering and surveying services for capital improvements, streets and drainage improvements of Jefferson Streets and drainage improvements to Ambutech Engineering of Brownsville, Texas, in the amount of $59,500. Funding for these street improvement will be derived from the 2011 GO Bond Fund Account 86-8200-9839. The administration of the Engineering Department concurs with this recommendation.
For the record, we did meet and we did discuss this issue. There were some areas that I believe that we can work on to improve future projects. As far as the issues that I had raised regarding it going up for bidding and stuff, those issues were clarified. I did receive a letter from the city attorney addressing the matter, but there is room for improvement. And so as a result of our discussions, I want to set up, I believe, a subcommittee so that we can address some of the issues that we can develop and implement for future projects.
I think it's a great idea.
Second.
As far as the motion for the present time, I tell you what, Estella, why don't you kind of head up that subcommittee? But for the present time, we have a motion on the floor.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
In establishing this subcommittee, I know that you've got a big workload, but we must be careful that we do not interfere in the process. That leaves us open, and I'm sure as attorneys you'll understand that it'll leave us susceptible, depending on who will be on that committee, because when contracts are awarded, we do have people within our staff that meet as a committee to award these contracts, to make these decisions. So we already have a committee by various directors. If you look,
And it's not for the awarding of the contracts, it's for
Commissioner's suggestion is for the creation of a subcommittee to simply review the procedures, not this particular
I'm
contract
so
or
sorry,
any
I
particular
misunderstood.
contract.
I'm so sorry. I wasn't taking anything. It's just, you know,
Oh,
the
no,
guidelines.
no, it's
when
not
we have-
regarding the awarding of the contracts or whatever, it's regarding the policies.
Yeah. No, if I understood what your suggestion was, is that there's a little room for improvement, which there's a room for improvement in anything that we do. So what we'll do is we continue as is for the present time as we go along. But if we have some suggestions that perhaps maybe we can address those to the administration, and perhaps maybe they can say there be some merit, no merit, we can bring it up in a workshop, we can do many things. Nothing changes, nothing happens differently. It's just something that we need it's not a bad idea to take a look at. That's good enough for me. So I have a motion present.
Second.
That's, I need a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Robert.
For the Resaca de la Guerra Culvert Improvement Project.
At the request of the Planning Department Director, Ben Medina, and the Purchasing Department, we solicited formal invitation for bids. A total of 5 contractors requested and received bid packages. 5 acknowledgements were subsequently received, confirming bid participation. A pre-bid meeting was conducted on November the 16th, 2012, at the Purchasing Department. 2 contractors were represented at the pre-bid meeting. Only 1 addendum was issued during the bidding process to clarify questions regarding the specifications and the drawings. On December the 6th, 2011, 5 bids were received at the Purchasing Department and subsequently tabulated for City Commission review and approval. So staff recommendation is to award a contract for the Resaca de la Guerra Culvert Improvement Projects to Jimmy Klossner and Sons of Mercedes, Texas, the low responsible bidder, with the bid amount of $699,210. Completion time for this project will be 180 consecutive calendar days. Funding for this project is available through the Hurricane Dolly Disaster Fund Grant, and the administration of the Planning Department concurs with this recommendation.
Would you approve? Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Time.
See you Thursday. Move to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.